The first note cracked the air like a fragile glass about to shatter, and the auditorium fell into an uneasy silence that no spotlight could soften. Dust floated in the bright daytime beam streaming through tall windows, and on that polished stage stood a janitor holding a microphone with hands that had scrubbed floors for years but had never held anyone's attention. The famous singer had forced him forward as a joke, a moment meant to humiliate, and the crowd leaned in expecting laughter, not truth. What came next would change every life in that room, including his own. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma's Book if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power hidden inside ordinary people. The janitor's name was Elias Moreno, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a gentle way of walking, as if he never wanted to disturb anyone. For 12 years, he cleaned the Grand Aurora Theater during daylight hours, polishing marble floors while rehearsals echoed above him. He memorized songs not by choice but by repetition, humming softly as he worked, always careful to stop when footsteps approached. Music had once been his dream, back when he was a boy singing beside his mother's radio, but life had turned practical and heavy. Bills came, his mother passed, and dreams were folded away like old posters. Now, his world was mops, keys, and quiet. The famous singer was Serafina Vale, celebrated for her flawless performances and commanding presence. She was rehearsing for a charity concert that afternoon, surrounded by assistants and technicians. Fame had sharpened her talent but dulled her patience. When a minor sound issue delayed her rehearsal, irritation rippled through the hall. Her eyes landed on Elias, standing near the aisle with his cleaning cart, and amusement sparked where empathy should have been. Someone joked that he always sang while cleaning. Laughter followed. Serafina, smiling thinly, insisted he come to the stage and sing solo, framing it as harmless fun in the bright, watchful daylight. Elias felt his chest tighten as he walked forward, every step echoing his doubts. His clothes were simple, his posture unsure, and his face flushed under the lights. He wanted to disappear, to return to the comfort of invisibility. The microphone felt cold and heavy. The crowd expected something small and forgettable, a few shaky notes to laugh at before moving on. Elias closed his eyes, not in confidence but in surrender, and thought of his mother's kitchen, of sunlight on faded curtains, of singing because it made the day feel lighter. The first note surprised even him. They were raw, unpolished, but carried a depth that settled over the room. His voice trembled at first, then steadied, rising into a rich tone shaped by years of quiet practice and unspoken longing. The melody filled the auditorium, not loud but honest, each note soaked in a life of loss, work, and endurance. The crowd stopped shifting. Assistants froze. Serafina's smile faded as she listened, truly listened. For the first time that day, Elias sang as if daylight itself were listening, as if the sun through the windows warmed his courage. His voice climbed where fear once lived, hitting notes that surprised everyone, including Serafina. There was no mockery now, only awe and discomfort as the power of his sound revealed something missing in her own carefully trained perfection. She had mastered technique, but Elias carried truth. The song ended not with applause but with stunned silence, the kind that arrives when something sacred has just passed through a room. When the applause finally erupted, it was hesitant at first, then overwhelming. Elias lowered the microphone, breathing hard, unsure whether he had done something wrong. His hands shook, but his heart felt strangely light. Serafina stood still, facing a truth she had not prepared for. She had intended to mock a man she saw as invisible, yet she had exposed her own emptiness instead. The crowd's reaction made it clear that something irreversible had happened. In the hours that followed, daylight continued to stream into the theater as conversations buzzed with disbelief. Elias returned to his cart, trying to ground himself in routine, but nothing felt the same. Staff members greeted him differently, with respect in their eyes. A producer asked his name twice, as if committing it to memory. Serafina, shaken and humbled, watched from a distance, her fame suddenly feeling fragile. Elias faced a new challenge then, one heavier than the microphone. Stepping into the light meant risking disappointment, risking hope. He had lived safely behind the scenes for so long that the idea of being seen terrified him more than being mocked. But something inside him had awakened, something that refused to go back to sleep. The applause lingered in his chest like a promise he hadn't known he was allowed to make to himself. As the afternoon wore on, Serafina approached him quietly. There was no grand gesture, only a visible struggle to swallow pride. She acknowledged what she had done without excuses, recognizing the cruelty disguised as humor. In that moment, the power shifted. Elias was no longer the janitor on stage, he was an artist who had reminded a star why music mattered. The apology didn't erase the humiliation, but it planted a seed of healing in the bright, open air. By the time the sun began its slow descent, Elias walked out of the Grand Aurora Theater with a small card in his pocket and a larger courage in his heart. He did not know where the path would lead, only that he had taken his first true step. Fame had not found him, his voice had found itself. And sometimes, that is the miracle we need most. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma's Book. Your support helps stories of hope, dignity, and second chances reach more souls who need them.